I went on about the chieftain, jarl, and carl structure before. But besides that, you had in each region you would have a local ting. Now the ting was set up pretty organically, depending on where the villages was, etc., and whom they were scared of, and they were also scared of their own. So the chieftain would come together at what is called a ting, or a thing in English. If you heard about the recent Shieldings event, they called it the Witten. It's kind of similar to that concept. Later on, these things would evolve into what the Anglos call parliaments. And
at
for
least
instance,
in Norway, the parliament here is called the big thing, literally,
yeah,
like the grand
the
thing.
big, yeah, and in Denmark it's called the people's thing, right? So it has evolved into what you would call parliament, or what you would call parliament elsewhere.
Yeah, and here it also is part of the court, because it's also a judicial system. So what you would call a court in, say, in the Anglo tradition is here called the noun is still the thing, but it's called like in Sweden you have the lowest denomination of the courts is the tingsrätt, and that means essentially the thing of rights.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So you have a concept that is a little bit wider, but the reason why I brought them up was because when they came together in these things, they could form, they could elect like a temporary king and then form an army, like the Great Heathen Army, right? So if you imagine that you have multiple regions coming together, you have the chieftain, jarl, carl set up, and you have like 3 ships sailing out, and in the end you end out with like 30 or 50,000 Vikings invading England, right?
Yep.
So that's why I wanted to bring it up. It's important to understand how it was organized.
I got a comment here from Burkarl, just to
Yes.
point out that there were no separation of powers here, unlike the modern parliaments.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Scandinavian society at this time still retains the divine hierarchy that underpins the divine right of kings. The people, so that our audience understand this, the people who are allowed to speak and bring grievances at the thing were nobility, the higher echelons of warriors and kings and priests. The common folk could bring to their local, then would say part of the hird, the knights, or to his local jarl. He could bring his grievances and ask his local jarl if it was a cross-jurisdictional, because otherwise it was within the lands and jurisdiction of the jarl. He would settle the issue right then and there, and then he could ask him to raise this with his fellow jarls and warriors at the thing. Otherwise, he had no say, because he was not part of that upper strata of the hierarchy. However, a valued peasant would always be allowed, through his jarl or through his local knights, to have his grievance brought before the thing. It was a point of grave injustice and great shame to deny such a thing, because this was a extremely honor-bound and pious society.
Yeah.
Personal honor, and in this, not only in the modern context of honor, but this is honor, and your personal record before the gods is paramount. It is everything.
Yes. Yeah, so this system of temporary kings continues all the way up into the 12th and 13th century. So you have like almost a thousand years where you have what is it called, elected monarchy or something like that.